Hey, it's Meg. Today we're going to be talking about sort of the past year all wrapped up. Um Today is like the 1 year mark, or like I feel like anniversary is the wrong word to use, but basically today is 1 year since my suicide attempt. And I do want to put like a little trigger warning out there for listening to this, and that's like something that's going to like upset you to hear about. Maybe don't listen. I'm not really going to be talking about like the events of that night. I want to focus on what I've done since then to get better. That's also kind of the other disclaimer I want to put out there for any of my like friends or family listening. I'm definitely a lot better now, and like please don't be worried. I know I scared everyone really bad a year ago, and I've definitely put in the work and I'm getting better. I'm not like fully perfect. I don't know if I'll ever be, but like I'm definitely a lot better. So please don't be worried. I also want to say that while I'm talking about like how my mindset's changed and how I'm doing so much better now, like don't compare yourself to that if you've been through something similar and you feel like you should be better by now. I didn't get better overnight. Like I said, it's been a year and I'm still working through things and I still have a lot to recover from and like just get better in terms of like how I think about and handle certain situations. So don't compare yourself. I am not where I thought I would be at this point in my life. I'm definitely like happy, but I still struggle with the fact that like it did set me back a little bit in terms of like where I wanted to be post grad. I never thought I would be in my hometown. Never thought I'd still be living with my parents, which I'm very like thankful I'm able to do that. Um, but yeah, I thought I'd be like in a big new city by now, like living my best life and like having all these like crazy memories and stuff. And that's simply just not how things happen for me, and that's okay. If I didn't move back home, I wouldn't have had the support system that I did to get better. And I'm very fortunate that I have that support system. I have like the most amazing friends and family who have done so much for me this year and been so patient with me and so understanding. And I literally could not be where I am or have gotten through the things I have without them. Like especially like my best friend Morgan, like I literally love you so much and I don't want to cry, but this girl has done literally like so much for me. Like she was the one I called the night of my attempt and like wrangled up our siblings and drove to me 4 hours in the middle of the night. And I just love you and appreciate you so much, Morgie, if you're listening to this. And all my other friends and family too. Like truly I could not have asked for better people to be around me during this time, and I'm very grateful. And I know that I'm very lucky and not everybody has that support system. But yeah, like I said before, I'm doing a lot better now. And it's weird because for the first time in a long time, I feel stable. And if you don't know, I have bipolar disorder, so I experience a lot of ups and downs. Um, and I feel like for the first time, I have been at like sort of a neutral. Like I'm not super depressed. I definitely still like get sad thinking about certain things that have happened and like within the past year and stuff. But I'm also not like so hyperactive and manic and like being irresponsible, and like I feel like I'm at a good spot right now, which feels so weird. Like I feel like my 14-year-old self again, and like obviously I'm like matured and like grown up, but I feel like the sense of like carefreeness I feel you have when you're like 14. I mean, obviously when you're like a teenager you have like friend drama and like boy drama and blah 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 blah, and like I never really had too much of that, so I don't know, like I feel good, which is just so weird to say. Because like if you asked me like 6 months ago if I felt good, I probably would have like lied to you and been like, oh my god, yeah, I'm doing so much better. um I was not. Like the change did not happen overnight for me, and I want to talk about all the kind of steps I took in between to get here. So with that being said, I just kind of want to like wrap not wrap up, but like kind of overlay the timeline of like what's been going on since my attempt to now. So it is April 27th. That's when I had my attempt, and I came home from school. I went to college in another state. My friends and her siblings and my sister brought me home that night. And I stayed home until like graduation weekend. I went back. I did not want to go back. My parents forced me to. I'm glad they did because I'm like, I have that memory now. But literally the night before my graduation, I was like sobbing in a hotel room that I just wanted to go home. So I was not in a good space after the attempt. I probably for like 4 months, I think it was like from like end of April to like end of August. So like May, June, July. Yeah, like 4 months. I basically rotted in bed. Um, like I said, I went to my graduation. I graduated a year early, but that was kind of predetermined before this. Like 2 weeks before, I had finalized it just because I knew I wasn't like mentally doing well, and there were some situations, like with my living situation, that wasn't going to get worked out for the next year, and I had my like classes done, so I just decided to like graduate and move on. Which is so weird because if you ask me like freshman and sophomore year, I loved college. Like I did not shut up about how much I loved where I went to school, and things change. But yeah, I never planned on like graduating early is basically what I'm getting at. So yeah, I come home and I basically just like hang out in my room. I was sleeping a lot. And then also like finishing my classes online, and then went back for graduation, moved out of the apartment, came home, and I basically like rotted for like 4 months. We were also like renovating the basement, which is like my own like, it's like my room. My parents' house is like a mini apartment essentially, but we were redoing that. So I was like upstairs in my old like childhood bedroom that's like pretty small, and I was literally just sleeping all the time. I was like watching TV during the day. My parents would like make sure I like at least got up to like eat and shower and stuff, but I did not leave my house and I did not want to. The first time I actually was like excited to go do something was for my 21st birthday week. Like me and my longest like childhood best friend, our birthdays are in the same week, so we turned 21 on like opposite weekends. And so like the one weekend we celebrated her, which I was excited for, and then the next weekend it was my 21st, and we also had the like Taylor Swift Eras tour the night before my birthday, which I was like really excited about. I'm not here for the Swiftie slander. If you're not a fan, keep your mouth shut. No one cares. That's all I'm gonna say. But like that was like the very first thing I was actually excited to go to, and like I was excited to get ready and like pick out my outfit and like go for the drive and have fun with my friend. Like we were looking forward to it for so long. So I think honestly, if I didn't have that to look forward to, it would have taken me a lot longer to like get out of my funk. Because that was like the first thing I did to like leave my house, and then after that I slowly started like hanging out with my friends. I still wouldn't leave. I would request everybody to come here and hang out because I didn't want to like go anywhere. And I would like, I camp a lot in the summer, so I would be going up to camp and like spending time with our like close family friends who like were very aware of my situation. And yeah, I just cannot thank the people I had around me enough for being like so supportive during that time. And then like sort of end of August, I had to like kind of start getting my shit together. My like student loans were gonna kick in. I needed a job. And I remember like my dad and me having like this conversation about how I was just like, I just like don't feel good. Like I was just like sad basically. And he gave me a little bit of tough love. And like my dad is like the greatest dad in the world. Like he like acts like a dad to all my friends. Like he's the best. And so I don't want this to like come off of him being like mean. Like he was just giving me the tough love I needed. But he basically looked at me and was like, snap the fuck out of it. Like you have so much potential and like you need to get it together. And I remember like the one thing he has said to me that like really stuck with me was he basically told me that him and my mom and my family and friends are going to be there for me no matter what, but I'm the only one who can get me out of this. Like I'm the only one who can like go get the help and like put in the effort. No one's going to magically fix the things that I've gone through and like fix my mental health. Like that's on me. And he like basically just like bluntly told me that, and I don't know, I think it like really worked and stuck because like 2 weeks later I had a job, which I was like very lucky to get a job in the field that I wanted. Like I got my bachelor's in architecture and I got a job in an architecture firm, and I started working there in September. And then like a month later I started working at another place like on top of it, like a part-time job, And so I was working a lot and I was like doing pretty okay. I was like just so busy and it was good to have a routine again. And then the holidays kind of crept up and I started going into a low again. Excuse me. Um, I don't know. I just remember the holidays are really hard. I like did not want to celebrate them at all. I just wanted to like stay home. And at this point I kind of knew that the job, my full-time job I was at was just like not the right fit for me. And I like really wanted to get out of there. But I couldn't just like quit. Like I had like loans to pay for and other stuff. Like I needed to like have a job. I couldn't not have a job. And so I was really nervous to go to the holidays because I didn't want to like tell people how I was doing because I wasn't doing good again and I wasn't feeling good anymore. And also the holidays are always just like really stressful. I love my family, but they're loud and crazy. And so it's always just like a lot. Or it just can be like a really tiring day. Like it's not like a relaxing holiday, you like most of the time. And also like I think holidays are different once you've like lost family members, and my grandpa passed away like right before Thanksgiving the year before, so this was like technically the second Thanksgiving without him, but we didn't really like, I don't know, the Thanksgiving before it was so sudden that it was just like there. I don't know how to explain it, but the second Thanksgiving it had been like a full year and it just really sucks. And like my other grandpa had passed away a few years before, so it was just like hard. I don't know. The holidays are just hard when you've lost somebody. So I started going through a low then, and I was like trying to get myself like hyped for the new year, being like, okay, I'm going to put everything in 2023 behind me and like all the stuff that I've dealt with and like everything that happened while I was at school and like my attempt and like getting better, like all that like bad stuff is behind me and I'm just going to like focus on having a good year. And I think for like the first 3 days I had that mindset, and then it just went back to me being like in a low again and I couldn't kind of like keep up the act. And I kind of stayed like that for a while. I would say like February-ish I started feeling a little bit better, but still not great. And then in March I had English please. In March we had a trip planned to Mexico because my cousin got married, and I was really nervous going into the trip because I knew I was not like in a good headspace. I was like really down and I like low-key didn't want to go because I didn't want to be like a Debbie Downer on the trip, and I didn't want to tell anyone beforehand that I was like not doing good because I didn't want anyone to be like worried or like annoyed with me thinking I was gonna like ruin the trip. So I kind of just kept it to myself, went on the trip. It was amazing, like the most gorgeous wedding ever, and like everyone had so much fun. I did get severely sunburnt and like had sun blisters, and that was not fun. But like overall I did like pretty well. I think there was like one day I was pretty down just because I literally could not move without my skin feeling like it was on fire. But other than that, I had a really good time. And while I was on the trip, I actually like received an email from another architecture firm offering to like see if I could interview with them, because I had been applying to new jobs, and so that definitely got me excited. And I had told them, I was in Mexico for a wedding and I wouldn't be back for a week. And we set up an interview for like the first Monday I was back. I am now currently working for that firm and I love it. I did a couple interviews with them and then I got hired a few weeks later, and I've now been there for 2 weeks, and so far everything's going great. And yeah, that's kind of where we are right now. So how did I get here to like getting better? I have a couple of pointers, like things I like wrote down that I was just like thinking about what I've done in the last year to like get to this point. I swear to God, if I say like one more time, somebody hit me. So the first thing that I have written down is I needed to prioritize getting better over what other people around my age were doing. And by this, I mean I was not focused on like, there I go again. I was not focused on like, oh my gosh, somebody hit me. I was not focused on going out or like friend drama or like boy problems, anything like that like a stereotypical like senior in college would be dealing with. And obviously like that's such like a shallow level of like things people our age are dealing with, but I really like just cut all that out. Like any kind of conflict with other people, I could not deal with. I could not have any boy drama. I could not have friend drama, which like thank God I have amazing friends and we rarely ever have issues. Um and I like cut out alcohol just because like alcohol makes me sad in general, and I was just not in a place to like go dance around and party and pretend I was okay. So as much as it like looked bad that I was just like staying in all the time, people were like, "You're young, you should be going having fun." It's not what I needed. I needed that time to myself to like rest and like mentally work through things. So I took it. Um I know like I said it again. Jesus Christ. I know my friends were in their going out phase still because they were still in college and stuff, and I know it's probably frustrating that I just like wasn't down to do that, but I am kind of proud I stuck to my ground and I knew it wasn't right for me, and I'm slowly getting to the point of like wanting to go do that again. I don't think I'm quite there yet, but I'm hoping at some point in the summer I am ready to like go have like a wild crazy night again. Um and this was not easy. Like when I say I had to like, oh my God, if I say like one more time, I'm gonna lose my mind. When I say I was staying home and working on myself, it wasn't something that was easy. I was in therapy, I was reading like self-help books, which may sound cheesy, but like I like them. And I was watching podcasts on mental health. I was finding people I could potentially relate to. And I almost had to trick myself into getting better. I would tell myself I'm doing great. I would tell myself that everything's going to work out, and I didn't believe it. Like I said, if you asked me 6 months ago, I would not have said I was good. I would have told you that if I was honest, actually, I probably would have said I was good. But if I was honest, I felt hopeless. I didn't see a point in anything still. I didn't think things were going to get better. I literally would say all the time that I was like fucked for life because I thought with like bipolar, like, yes, I'm going to experience ups and downs, but you can manage them. And at that point, I didn't really like grasp that. I was just like, nope, like it's out of my control. Like I have no control over how I'm doing. That's not true. And I've learned to like find things that help me control it. So yeah, I kind of had to trick myself into thinking it before I actually believed it. And that was just like kind of repeating things, as cheesy as it is, like not like affirmations, but just like correcting any negative thoughts I had and immediately being like, nope, I'm fine. Like I would say, I don't know, there was like one phrase I always would say to myself, like when I was by myself or like in my head. Like when I was by myself, I would literally say it out loud, which is like kind of embarrassing to admit, but whatever, it helped. I think I would literally ask myself, be like, are you okay? And be like, yeah, I'm fine. Be like, it's okay, everything's fine. Like I would just say that to myself, and it would help like calm any anxiety or any like waves of sadness I would get. Another thing I did is I started focusing on my hobbies more. I got really into reading again. I've always been a big reader, call me a nerd or whatever, but like my book collection has grown immensely over this past year, and I've read so many books this past year, and I love passing books to friends, and it's just fun and I like it. So hate on me all you want, but I am a book nerd. And I also like got into drawing again. I've always been like a pretty artistic person and really loved art. So I got really into like drawing tattoos for friends and myself. I got a lot more tattoos this year. And yeah, just like doing little doodles. And I started this podcast, which was like a new hobby, to talk about mental health. I got very open on talking about it, which I think helped a lot, because the reason I got to such a low point is I was always so nervous to like bother people with my problems. You're not bothering people who care about you when you're talking about if you need help. Like you will never be a burden to the right people, and if someone's making you feel like a burden, they should not be in your life, because mental health should be taken seriously. Otherwise, bad things can happen. Talking firsthand here. And I didn't have anyone in my life like making me feel like a burden. I just had that like perception in my head. And once I started being open about it, I realized like how much easier it makes it. Because I can be having just like a bad day and be like talking to my friend about it, that it's an existential crisis, and within 20 minutes I'm like fine, because they've like helped talk me down. And I'm not saying it's like my friend's responsibility to calm me down. Like I definitely have had to learn ways to do that on my own. But it does help to know that like the big feelings you have don't always have to be that big if you just let them out. Ooh, that was kind of good. Go me. That was a good phrase. Proud of myself for that one. Anyways, so like I said, starting the hobbies really helped, especially talking about this. And I think once I posted the first episode, I was like shitting my pants. I was so nervous to post. One, that I was like bipolar in general. Like, I think I had posted like a few TikToks like making jokes about it. But like to put it on my like Instagram account with like people from high school who follows me and like we're potentially gonna see it just made me nervous. I literally was like on FaceTime with one of my friends to be like, okay, I'm gonna do it. And she was like, just press it, just like go for it. Like, you wanna do this, just go for it. And now I'm at a point where like I don't give a fuck what anyone thinks about me. Like, I don't know. I mean, I know I put in the work, but like I have never been so confident in my life. And I'm not saying that in like a egotistical bitch kind of way. Like, I truly do not give a fuck what anyone thinks about me other than like my close friends and family. And like that even is to a point because anyways, I'm not going to go on that whole like rambling train, but like my friends and family are so supportive of me, but I also know that they're not yes men and they will put me in my place in a heartbeat if I'm like acting out and like not doing something that's good for me. And so to anyone who like has anything negative to say about me being bipolar or me wanting to do the podcast or like just literally anything, it doesn't matter. It's just noise. It makes no difference to my life. And I think that's the first time in my life I've ever felt that way. And I think a lot of it has come from this like work I've been doing like in therapy and just like day to day like being nicer to myself, because I used to hate myself so much. Like, I was my biggest critic, and I know a lot of us are, and a lot of people can relate to that. You gotta stop it. Like, it makes life so much better when you are nice to yourself. And I think a lot of it came from just giving myself grace, especially when I was really in that like deep dark depression and like rotting period. I learned to just be like, you know what, like, I've been through a lot. I low-key deserve to sit here and do nothing and just breathe. Like, the fact that I get through a day and I have eaten at least one meal and I've showered, that's amazing. Like, gold star for me, give myself a pat on the back. Like, I really just stopped putting so much pressure on myself and just let myself breathe for once. And I think we all need to do that more, especially in like the age of like social media and stuff, which there's just so much comparison. And I definitely like compared myself a lot, and not in a sense of like I need to be better than everyone, but I was just like so hard on myself that I wasn't where I wanted to be in life. And like, it's not fair that like I've been through these things and other people haven't. Like, I was throwing myself a pity party instead of just being like, okay, yeah, it did happen, now let's like take care of yourself a little bit. Like, I was just hard on myself for things that were out of my control. And I think a lot of what I did to like sort of like flip that narrative was I had to focus on having gratitude for like the positive things in life. And I know this like sounds cheesy and everyone's like, oh, like do your affirmations, practice your gratitude, like gratitude journal. I was not like doing that much. Like, I did not have a gratitude journal. No hate if you do. I think that's great. I just personally am like, it's just not, I'm not like a journaler. Like to that extent. And so like when I mean like focus on gratitude, I just became so appreciative of the people in my life who were there for me and everything they had did. Like, I really just was like, I have such like a good environment right now, and I didn't have that when I was at school, so it was very refreshing. And I really just focused on that, and I focused on the fact that like some people would kill to have like the bedroom that I have, and like that's not in a bragging way, but I mean, I'm very lucky that like my parents weren't like, well, you're out of college, like move out. Like, they're like, no, like we're gonna make you like your own little mini apartment downstairs. Like, that's insane. And I just became like very grateful for that. And like, I have a dog that I got in college, and I'm so grateful for him. Like, he is my lifeline, and like the fact that I'm able to take care of him and take him on walks, and just like I'm able to go to the gym, and I have a job in the field that I started working in. Like, those like things I'm grateful for are just little things. Like, you know what? I'm grateful I get to go to Dunkin' and get my like iced tea or whatever. And I'm not sitting here trying to like list off a bunch of things and brag. I'm just trying to like give ideas of like things you might relate to that you could practice being grateful for and having gratitude for. But that's, I think, how I kind of like flipped the narrative of focusing so much on the negative and constantly beating myself up, was just like really emphasizing the positives, even if they were like the littlest thing of like getting to wear my favorite sweatshirt that day, even though I wasn't leaving my bed. But I would be like in my Eras Tour sweatshirt and I'd be like, oh my God, it's like my Taylor sweatshirt. And I would get so excited. Um, but yeah, like I said, practicing gratitude. And I did get to a point where I needed to like kind of start pushing myself out of my comfort zone. Like I said, I started working, so that was like a big thing for me. But in terms of like the social aspect, I used to be really, really social. Like going out all the time in college, I'll make a friend with anyone anywhere. It's like, it doesn't matter to me. I'm not shy. But after all this happened, I like did not want to leave my house. I didn't want to run into people. I didn't want to make new friends. And I'm starting to like creep out of that. But I definitely have to like step out my comfort zone even more than I already have. But I have done it a little bit. Like recently I've been more open to like going to restaurants with friends and like going out to like have a drink at like a restaurant. I'm not at the part where I like want to go out to a bar yet. It's like a little bit much for me so far. But even just like going out to eat, I would not be doing like 6 months ago. And now it's like a weekly thing that we make plans to like go somewhere, like go shopping together. So yeah, you definitely have to learn when it's time to push and when it's time to like give yourself grace. And I think I may have given myself grace for like a little bit too long. Like I think I probably could have pushed it sooner, but also like what's the rush? Like my goal is ultimately just to be happier and better. And so if it takes me longer than it takes some people, who cares? And if it takes you longer than it took me, who cares? The priority is like the end goal of like you being better. And that's all you need to focus on. Um, and like with that, I know I've talked about so much how much I love my friends and family and how appreciative I am of them. But I also have cut a lot of people out this year. And I'm not being like, fuck you, cut you out of my life, never want to speak to you again, like wish you the worst. Like not at all. There's like maybe 2 people. But like I've had friends who like just like not the healthiest friendships, but like there's nothing but love there. And it's just like, it's just not gonna work, and that's fine. And if it was causing me stress, like you just have to let it go, because I have other priorities right now than like focusing on a toxic friendship. But if people are genuinely like hurtful to you, cut them out. I don't care if you have to be a bitch about it, cut them out. It is not worth it. Even if you don't have like your solid core friend group in life right now, you'll meet more people. There are so many people in your life that you are going to meet and you are going to love and who are going to love you. Don't keep shitty people around. It is not worth it. And as I say that, I also think you don't need to like burn every bridge. I think you can just politely let people go. And you know what? Maybe like one day they'll come back around and maybe they won't. And it's just how life works. And I'm not going to go into like a Hallmark type of rant about that right now because I so could. But yeah, I think it's totally fine to remove people and things. Like if a job's not like good for you, like if it's affecting your mental health negatively, like look for a new one. Or like your friend group, it's not working for you, or you don't like the gym you go to, or you're in a club you don't love anymore. It's your life, and like all these things are like little mini side quests. Like you don't have to stick to one narrative. Say like you've always been like the artsy kid your whole life and now you want to do music. Do music. Who gives a fuck? Like I said, like one of the things I've grown into is my confidence this year, and it's because I have a very much like who gives a fuck attitude, because no one does. Like I'm sitting here recording a video of myself talking that I know I'm gonna post, and like I don't give a fuck if nobody watches it, and I also don't give a fuck who sees it and if they think it's stupid, because most of the times people who think what you're doing is stupid are people who are too scared to do it themselves. I don't really have anything else to say about that. That's just basically like what I've noticed, and what I think a lot of people are starting to pick up on is life is too fucking short. And coming from me, who almost made it shorter, sorry, that's not funny. It's too short, and I spent way too much time doing what other people wanted me to do or what I thought I should be doing because of what other people were doing. And I'm sick of it. I feel like when I had my attempt, that was my rock bottom, and I'm kind of like starting over. Like not like my life is starting over, but I feel like my like purpose in life and my mentality has started over. And I'm really trying to like live for myself, focus on being happy, and like all the superficial shit means nothing to me because I almost like lost everything, and I scared everyone in my life so badly that I never want to like put them in that position again. And I don't want to keep talking about it because I'm going to cry, and no one wants to listen to me cry. So, okay, I'm going to take a deep breath because that was a lot of heavy thoughts and feelings. But yeah, I don't really have a ton left to say. I just want to say, yes, I'm doing better. I still have a lot to work on. So once again, please do not compare yourself. If you've been in a tough spot and you feel like you can't get out of it, it will happen. But like my dad said, you're the only one who can get you out of it. You got to put in the work. I hope this gave some ideas of how to do that, or just made someone feel a little less alone in it. I want to keep posting and talking about mental health because I think it's so important, and I just really want to put focus into prioritizing mental health, and if I can be open and talk about it and help somebody, then it's worth it. And yeah, I am gonna leave this here. That's all I have for now. If you've listened all the way through, thank you so much. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, evening, night, whatever time you're listening to this, and remember to be kind to yourself. So, like I said, that's all for now. I'll see you next time. Bye.